Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
I spent 6 years writing Hamilton. I started writing it in 2008. We opened in 2015, so it's really 7 years. For me, the story is about someone who came here from somewhere else. He's the immigrant among the founders, had a very short but very eventful life. But I think the larger theme of the show is really legacy. What do we do with our time on this planet? What do we do with our time here on Earth? And how are we remembered? That's the question that haunts both Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton through the story of this show, and I think it's what continues to resonate with audiences after the show's over.
There's no live Hamilton performing at the moment, so it's a good way to keep people engaged in the show, and I think it's giving a whole new kind of access to a whole bunch of people who couldn't have access before by virtue of the fact that there's only so many seats in the theater, and also because they are prohibitively expensive for the bulk of people in the world. So this is a cool thing to do.
I think it's the right time to release Hamilton because after George Floyd was murdered, a lot of people felt the need to have a conversation finally about systematic racism in this country. And I think in order for that to happen, it requires people to be relentless with their voice, to constantly speak out every chance they get, and to demand to see an America that they believe is just and true. And I think that's exactly what Alexander Hamilton was doing. That's exactly what he wanted to do. That's why he decided to speak out and become a lawyer, and why he wrote the Federalist Papers. He was determined to say, look, if this country is going to be created, it should be created a certain way that I believe is equal and fair. And the people now are just saying, well, the country was created, but we think it should change in a way that's equal and fair. And I think if you take the time, you'll see the parallels between the movement that's happening and the movement that happened then.
Indians emerge with the nation's capital. And here's the pièce de résistance. No one else was in the room where it happened.
It feels a lot like it did before we opened off Broadway. I'm much more interested at this point in the other half of the conversation. I want to hear from them. I want to hear what people think about it. I want to hear what it means to them today. Does it have a different resonance?
And the hope that you provide.
To me, a miracle because it is everything that is so beautiful and so possible about a theatrical expression, and everything that is so beautiful and uniquely possible about a cinematic expression fused together. If you think you never saw it, you're okay, because you will get to see it in this movie. If you think you did see it, you haven't seen it yet. This film is different.
I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days.
The thing about this film is that at every single angle, every single shot, every single moment, you have the best seat in the house. And sometimes the best seat in the house, you are like on stage with us. So in a way, watching it almost felt like I was having a dream about being back in the show. I felt that much inside of it in certain moments.
I had the good fortune of conducting the show. So in a way, I got to see the show up close all the time. And here was a beautifully edited version of the film where we get a chance to get some really unique vantage points for the show. And sometimes we're really up close with the actors, sometimes we're really far back. But it's really thrilling to see a theatrical medium all of a sudden transported into a cinematic medium. Not a lot of shows get that opportunity, so I remember being thrilled.
World's gonna know your name. What's your name?
Alexander Hamilton. That moment in September when we let the world in on the entire story of the show, because the entire story is in that cast album. And I'm looking forward to the echo of that when we give the world this movie that is a document of that time.